recording first, and I will start also sharing the screen. Okay. And so we should start the slideshow from the beginning. So last class, we started working with the unit 2, which is about general practice and people working in general practice. And you were given some home assignment, and that is why I'm starting with comments on homework that you've done. So one of the home assignments was to write an essay. Is the difference in working in city, urban and rural areas in your home country? So what should I say? I've read a lot of essays. So I spent the whole day to reading your essays. And I need to do some comments. First of all, when I was reading, in some essays, I didn't see any paragraphs. That is why I should say that you should have divided the essay into several paragraphs. This is the rule. What should we write in each paragraph? Each paragraph shows, says about only one idea, plus the examples that illustrate this idea. If we write a different idea, it should be given in the next paragraph. So I thought it was the rule that you have known, but no, not everyone. Then there is information about the essay structure. The essay should have the following structure. First, it should be introduction, then body and conclusion. So introduction is, in the introduction, you write what you are going to write about. In the body, you write 2-3 paragraphs, depending on the number of ideas, with examples that illustrate these ideas. And in the conclusion, you should summarize what you have written in the body. This is the rule. So in some of the essays, I've seen exactly this structure. It was very good. But in some of the essays, the student just forgot about this. Then, when we speak about the language that we use in written papers, in written work, so in the essays, when you write something, please do not contract the words. There were some examples like you are getting, so you shouldn't just contract like you are. You should write the full form of the phrase. Or in several essays you've written, I've seen no of people. This is number of people, as I can guess. So in written form, it's better to write the whole phrase. And there are some typical mistakes that I would like to discuss with you. So there are some examples of sentences. Let us look at them. All the sentences are from students' essays. So I mean that I met them not only once. So is Arun Chalam here?
Yes, ma'am.
So will you read the first sentence?
Yes, ma'am. People doesn't believe in.
So I mean, this is the beginning of the sentence. What's the problem here? Is everything okay in the sentence, in this phrase?
People don't believe in, ma'am.
Yes.
The thing.
People, yes, this is the plural form. The plural form. Person, one, people. That is why it requires do, don't. Okay. Madhumita, the next sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
Read it, please.
Doctors in urban areas are usually more educated than in rural areas. Dan should come, ma'am.
Yes, of course. This is when we compare two things. We use so we say urban areas, then in rural areas. It should be then, not then. Then means when we do something, then we did the other thing. Okay, Divya, the next sentence, please.
Yes, ma'am. It create a wider scope of treatment.
So what's the problem here?
Create
What should we do? What kind of form should we use here? What's wrong?
Creates a wide,
lesson.
Sorry? Who can help?
creates a wide scope of treatment.
Yes. So we need the final S because this is the third
Yes,
person
ma'am.
singular. It creates. Okay, and Priya. The
Yes,
last
the
sentence.
the specialty field, money and infrastructure creates opinion in choosing the workplace.
Mhm.
Creates the opinion, ma'am.
Okay, so you think it's only one?
Created,
Yes.
Create.
Create instead of creates, and when we use indefinite article, so can we use this form of article if a noun starts with a vowel? Opinion.
An opinion.
An opinion, you're right.
hmm,
So yes, so create an opinion. Okay, so when we speak, of course, it's very hard to see the mistakes, but when you write, be careful with this because everything is so obvious and visible. So you should check before you submit the paper. Okay, and I would like to speak about plagiarism when it comes to writing. So it's very important. So you know that plagiarism means writing ideas from any source and not acknowledging that source. So it plagiarizes to use another person's words and pretend that these words are your own words and ideas. So how to avoid plagiarism? So if you use somebody's words, you may just mention this person, this source. You may cite this source, or you may copy the words and you show somehow that it is copied. And here are the examples of plagiarism. Unfortunately, they are taken from the students' papers. I mean that, I don't know, maybe some students just copied the papers of the other students, or it looks like this because even the words in the title are just underlined the same way. Or it can be the form is a little bit, yes, different, but anyway, maybe the students used one and the same source of information and they didn't change anything. That is why I've received exactly identical essays. So from some of the students. So like this. And in your group, you know that those students who have got 0 for the essay, it means that they don't get any score. So that was the case of plagiarism. I didn't give score to the essays which were copied from exactly from the internet without any changing. maybe I missed this, but when I see identical essays, so I gave 0 to both students. And so the final one, so I think they one of the students just copied from the others. Okay. And how to avoid plagiarism. So you should paraphrase. So to paraphrase is to include the ideas or information from an original source in your paper by rephrasing those ideas in your own words. When you have written something, you should just put aside the source of information, and you should try to write yourself in your own words. So, or you may use the synonyms, just search for synonyms in dictionaries to change the words in the sentence, or change the structure of the sentence. Okay. And of course, you should give the link to the source. Where you should say where the idea came from, because in many essays there was information about how many % of people live in urban areas and how many % live in rural areas. This is the information that you didn't invent yourself. You didn't calculate yourself. So I see this is the numbers I taken from some kind of resource. That is why you should mention where you have taken this information from. So is everything clear with the plagiarism?
Yes.
Okay, please
Yes,
avoid plagiarism next time when you need to write something. And I also asked to do the essays in handwriting. Some of the students just printed the information. That is why I just scored them like less than 10 points. This is 8 points. So in case you see that your score is a little bit lower. And I didn't get the essays, or I didn't get the results of week 2 from some of the students. So I don't know why. If you have some problems, please send it to Universite, or just if you send to Universite in the group, please tell me, because the journal is shut down, and I can't just put the grades on this week in the journal. So maybe next week I can do this. And if you do the tasks, if you have forgotten to do this, so please do it. And so we are moving to the main piece of information that we are going to speak about, like working in general practice. And I would like you to look at this slide, and now we are going to listen, do some listening task to listen how doctors take case history. So there is a conversation between Mr. Bloomfield, a 28-year-old civil servant, and a locum general practitioner, Dr. Dixon. So we're going to look at the notes and discuss why the past medical history, family history, personal and social history, and drugs and allergy history are important. Before we start listening, let us focus on some words which may be hard for us to understand. For example, civil servant is the job of the patient. he is an employee of the government, like a teacher or a doctor. He's paid by the government. And locum GP or locum general practitioner. This is a general practitioner who stands in for another doctor who is temporarily away on holiday or off sick. So, and yes.
Listening to.
This is.
Good morning, Mr. Bloomfield. My name's Dr.
Do you hear the recording?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
So, but before we start just listening, I would like you to look at the form. And there are some other words that will help us to understand everything. So one of them is contributory, helping to cause. Precipitants here, factors which cause something. I hope that you know siblings, brothers and sisters. And if we look at this form, the case history, so there are some abbreviations, I mean acronyms here. I would like to make sure that we understand everything. So, and for example, PC at the top of this paper, what do they stand for? Who remembers PC? Is it personal computer? Do you hear me?
yes, ma'am. It's something relevant to post meal.
Presenting complaint, ma'am.
Exactly, presenting complaint, yes.
Oh, yes,
Hmm.
ma'am.
Yes,
Present.
presenting complaint. And HPC here, the next subtitle. This is history of presenting complaint, right? And PMH, this is post-medical history. Okay, now we're going to listen to the information, and you see there are a lot of gaps here. Please just while listening, make notes, and you should complete the gaps. Which are marked with numbers here. We have how many? 12 words. We have to read 12 phrases. So are you ready to listen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll start now.
Listening to. Good morning, Mr. Bloomfield. My name's Dr. Dixon. I'm a locum GP standing in for Dr. Wright. What can we do for you?
I've been having some problems with my breathing.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this?
Well, I keep getting breathlessness and wheezing in my chest. It all started about 3 weeks ago, and I've been coughing a lot with it. Some white phlegm. I thought it might be a cold coming on, but then after about another week, I started finding it more and more difficult to catch my breath.
Right. So you've had the wheezing and the breathlessness for roughly 3 weeks?
Yes, give or take a day.
And do you get these bouts of wheezing and shortness of breath every day?
No, they come and go.
How frequently do you get them?
The first week there was only one, I think, and then they started getting worse, 3-4 times a week. It's not being able to get my breath that's really worrying.
And so the attacks, have they increased in the past 2 weeks?
Yes, they're much more frequent.
Okay. When do the attacks come on?
At any time, but they seem to be worse at night and in the morning.
Have you noticed any change in the severity of the attacks, especially in the morning?
Yeah,
Do they wake you up at night?
about 3 times a week.
I see. You been off work at all?
No, but I nearly didn't go in yesterday.
Was that the worst so far?
Yeah.
And have you had anything else with it?
I've felt a bit tight across the chest.
Any pain with it?
No, just tightness.
Are you aware of anything that triggers the attacks?
Like what?
Dust, feathers, new carpets?
No, I can't really say I am.
Okay. Have you had any infections recently, like flu or sore throat or chest infection?
No, not for a long time, except this.
And what about medications? Are you taking anything?
No,
No. Aspirin?
no,
Are you doing any exercise? Jogging, for instance?
no.
What about pets? Do you have pets at home?
No. But my neighbours have a cat, but I don't see it that much.
Everything okay at home?
Yeah, things are fine.
And what about work? I see you're a civil servant. Any stress or problems at work or anything like that?
Work's been getting me down recently.
In what way?
Well, there's been a lot of changes going on recently, and I suppose I'm a bit anxious, what with the mortgage and that.
And this has been getting to you?
Yes, more and more.
I see. And does the wheezing, etc., continue over the weekends?
No. When I come to think about it, it doesn't.
Okay. Some general questions. Have you ever had anything like this before?
No, never.
Do you have other illnesses? High blood pressure, diabetes, or heart problems?
No, nothing like that. This is the first time I've been ill in my life.
Has anyone in your family had anything similar?
No, not as far as I know.
What about eczema? Anyone in your family with that?
Both my sister and my mother have it.
Well, this is the conversation. Did you manage to complete all the gaps here? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, almost. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
okay. So let us listen to Raj Kumar. Are you here? Raj Kumar. No. Badris. Badris? Is Badris with us?
No, ma'am, not here.
I see. Prerna.
Yes, ma'am.
So will you start, will you just give us information about the first part, presenting complaint? So what did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
write in number
The
one?
patient, the
Mhm.
patient had breathlessness, and he had wheezing in chest, and also white phlegm.
White phlegm. What about productive? What is number three?
No, ma'am, I couldn't hear that. It was
So
very fast.
who can help us?
Ma'am, wheezing and coughing.
Coughing, yes. Number three is coughing. Okay, thank you, Prerna. So, Afrin Modh. So, are you here? So, what's
Yes,
your
ma'am.
first name? Afrin.
Nishat, ma'am. Nishat.
Nishat. Nishat.
Yes.
I see. I see. Okay. Mhm. And your last name? What is it?
Afrin, ma'am.
Afrin, your last name. I see. Okay.
Yes.
So, Nishat, please, what is missing?
Yes, ma'am.
What is missing?
Attacks
Mhm.
worse at night, ma'am.
Okay, and
Like
At night,
during
in the morning, ma'am.
in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Yes.
like a cough wakes patients about 3 to 4 times.
Three times a week. Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
3 to 4.
What about other symptoms?
Chest
Ma'am,
tightening,
in
ma'am.
Yes,
Chest
Tightness across the chest.
tightness in the chest.
Mhm. Then, okay, contributory causes. No, what? What is missing in number 9?
Ma'am, I don't remember that.
No infections.
No known
Allergy.
no known precipitants. And history
Yes, ma'am.
suggests, what does history suggest?
No history. No history of
No
any.
history,
history
ma'am.
of
No
illness, ma'am.
history. No history, ma'am.
None.
So here we need the diagnosis. Number 10 is diagnosis, one of the possible diagnoses. This is
Alzheimer, ma'am.
no, this
Alzheimer.
is number 12, eczema,
Yes, ma'am.
he says. But
Eczema.
number 10, this is what is asthma. So history suggests asthma. Okay, and so let us listen to Pandey Prakriti. Are you here?
Yes,
Prakriti?
yes, ma'am.
So please,
Yes, ma'am.
number 11 is for you.
Ma'am, no any attack in history.
No history of something that happened before. So here, no history of previous attacks.
Yes,
And what about number 12? We have already mentioned this. So
ma'am, mother and sister have asthma.
Eczema.
Eczema.
Eczema, yes.
Eczema.
They
Yes, ma'am,
have
eczema.
eczema. Okay, well done. So this is the way you remember the doctor follows the Socrates model and asks the questions to find out the information, the details about some illness disorder, and to make the diagnosis. Okay, and so differential diagnosis here, as we see, this is eczema or asthma. Okay, and if we move to the next, yes, to the next slide, I would like you to differentiate between some signs and symptoms. So when we speak about a sign of some illness, some disease, this is the indication of illness that the doctor sees, but which is not apparent to the patient. So a sign, this is very important for the doctor. He understands something about the disease. And a symptom is what the patient noticed himself or herself, because it's very obvious, it's rather strong. Even the patient understands that something is going wrong. Sometimes signs can be classified as symptoms and vice versa, symptoms like signs. Now we are going to look at, yes, at this list of signs and symptoms. There is condition A, and we have some phrases that we should differentiate. Are they signs or symptoms? Or are they both? Can be signs or symptoms. We have a blocked nose, a raised temperature, tender over sinuses, headache, worse on bending, and runny nose. So,
Yes, incorrect.
okay, so let us listen to, let me see, Samhita. What can you say about these signs and which of them are signs, which of them are symptoms? Samhita, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Blocked nose is a symptom. Raised temperature, blocked nose is a symptom.
I see.
Raised temperature is also a symptom. Tender over sinuses is a sign. Headache worse on bending is a symptom. Runny nose is also a symptom.
Okay, great. So, yes, everything can be symptoms like if a patient is very careful about his health, he can just see everything, but raised temperature is a sign. This is very important for doctors and tender for the sinuses also. Okay, great. And so there is another set of condition B, and let us listen to Rafael.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Raised pulse is a sign, ma'am. Recent vomiting diarrhea is a symptom, ma'am. Dehydration is also a symptom, ma'am. Abdominal tenderness is a sign, ma'am. Crampy abdominal pain is a symptom, ma'am.
Okay, let us check. Well, looks like this dehydration, maybe the patient doesn't understand that he's.
I said it dehydration because whenever something diarrhea or vomiting happens, we feel like dehydrated. We are dehydrated.
But I think that you are right that recent vomiting or diarrhea.
Ma'am, we
is a
actually cannot
symptom.
make out if we actually having dehydration. We can just feel weakness. And doctor suggests that it's dehydration.
Yes, the doctor, if we can say. Okay, so sometimes it's not just so clear. Okay. Now the question: which diseases the signs and symptoms might relate to? I mean the condition A and
vomiting and diarrhea. Second one was
Runny
something
nose.
diarrhea related, and ma'am, first one was clogged or runny nose.
Runny nose and
Runny nose.
Cold, ma'am.
cold.
some kind of the condition A, cold, flu.
Runny nose.
And condition B.
Ma'am, like a
Crampy abdominal pain.
Crampy,
Crampy
yes,
abdominal
ma'am.
pain.
Abdominal pain, ma'am.
And what is
Second
the diagnosis? So
Abdominal tenderness, ma'am.
some kind of problems with gastritis, for example, gastritis, something like this. Okay, good. Well, yes, unfortunately, we have about 1 minute left of our first class. So you see, so we need to go back to our previous page, and so now we are taking a 10-minute break, and let us meet again in 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
See you in 10 minutes.